Okay, let's talk about Canada's real estate market. Heading into 2026, we're hearing a lot about cautious optimism. But what does that actually mean for you? Well, in this breakdown, we're going to cut through the noise and see what's really happening.
Right, so the big picture for 2026 is a market that's really balanced on a knife's edge. On one side, there's this feeling of hope, a potential recovery after some pretty wild years. But on the other, you've got these brand new challenges popping up, like a potential oversupply of condos and that constant question mark hanging over interest rates.
If I had to pick two words to describe what all the industry experts are saying, it's these right here: cautious optimism. And that phrase just perfectly captures this weird vibe of uncertainty. It's not a boom, but it's not a bust either. It's a market that's just in this really delicate transition period.
So you're probably asking yourself, okay, in a market this tricky, where are the actual opportunities? And that is the million-dollar question, right? That's exactly what we're going to dig into, whether you're an investor, a landlord, or even a tenant looking for a good deal. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. There are two huge competing forces that are really creating all this tension in the market. And understanding this push and pull is absolutely key to figuring out how to play your cards in 2026. All right, so in one corner, you've got the giant: interest rate uncertainty. Seriously, it's the elephant in the room for every single deal. High borrowing costs have put a lot of plans on ice. But then, in the other corner, you've got this flood of new condos hitting the market, especially in Toronto and Vancouver. And that's a whole different story because it's starting to tilt the negotiating power back toward buyers and tenants. So, with all this going on, how are the big players, the developers and investors, actually reacting? Well, they are definitely not just sitting on the sidelines waiting. They're making moves and adapting their whole game plan. We're seeing three key strategies emerge. First, a major pivot to purpose-built rentals. We're talking buildings designed from the ground up just for renters. Second, investors are zeroing in on really resilient niche markets. Think student housing or medical offices. And third, people are getting creative, exploring faster and more cost-effective ways to build, like using modular construction. And here's one of the biggest takeaways for 2026. Geography is everything. It's truly becoming a tale of two Canadas. Your experience in the real estate market is going to be wildly different depending on what part of the country you're in. We're talking clear winners and losers here. For example, you've got markets like Calgary that are absolutely booming. People are flocking there, and it's become the #1 city to watch for potential price gains. But then you look at the big hubs like Toronto and Vancouver, and it's a completely different picture. They're dealing with the highest inventory levels they've seen in a decade, and that could mean prices start to soften.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk commercial property. It's been a really tough few years for this sector, but we're finally starting to see some early, pretty promising signs of a comeback. And get this number, it's pretty wild. A recent survey found that 97% of commercial real estate professionals expect market activity to be stable or even get better in 2026. I mean, that is a huge leap in confidence from where things stood just a year ago.
But that comeback isn't happening for everyone. The office sector is really a mixed bag. There's this massive flight to quality, where companies are ditching their older B-grade buildings for shiny new, amenity-rich spaces. It's creating this huge divide between the haves and the have-nots in the office world. On the flip side, industrial real estate is still the absolute darling of the commercial sector. Demand for things like warehouses and logistics centers is just through the roof. Just look at Ottawa, for instance, where industrial rents have shot up by almost 10% year over year. That tells you just how tight that market is.
So what do you do with all those older, struggling office towers? Well, this has sparked some really cool, innovative solutions. People are actually converting them into apartments. We're seeing cities like Calgary and Ottawa jump on this because, hey, it's a brilliant way to solve two problems at once. You get rid of office vacancies and create much-needed housing. So, after all that, what does this actually mean for you? Let's boil all these trends down into a simple, actionable playbook for 2026. Okay, for all the investors and landlords out there, the name of the game is agility. You gotta be nimble. This means rebalancing your portfolio, maybe leaning more into those high-demand areas like industrial properties or purpose-built rentals. Keep a super close eye on what the Bank of Canada is doing and be ready to pivot and chase those opportunities in growth markets like Alberta. And for commercial tenants, this is actually pretty good news for you.
The power has shifted a bit. You have more leverage now than you've had in years, especially if you're looking for office space. So this is your time. Negotiate hard on rents and incentives. The one exception, if you're in a hot industrial market, you still need to be ready to move fast.
So at the end of the day, success in 2026 isn't going to be about riding some massive, easy wave of growth. It's going to be about smart, strategic, and agile decision-making in a market that is finally finding its balance. The era of easy money is over, and the real winners will be the ones who can adopt, innovate, and seize the very real opportunities that are now starting to pop up.